Hi everybody, this is Cash Rocket, and I do apologize for the poor audio. I'm not sure what I can do to fix that, but I just wanted to do a quick video on charting and buying options using the ThinkOrSwim platform. I've been playing around with it a little bit and finding more and more every day that's pretty cool about it. In this example, we're looking at the stock Dish. As you know, it has had some pretty good options activity over the last 6 to 12 months anyways, but more interestingly, we're focused on the options in Dish, which have seen some action. So what's interesting about it is typically you'd have to go over to like the trade tab, click on all products, and then you would be looking at the option chain. But what you can do on the other tab that we were just looking at is that there's a specific strike that is appealing to you. Let's hone in on that. In this example, I know if we go over to June and we look in the open interest, we see that in the June 67.5 there is quite a bit remaining in the sitting in open interest, over 16,000 calls. So what you can actually do in Active Trader is if you, instead of typing the ticker, you type a dot, okay, then the name of the stock, it actually brings up different monthly options that you can continue on with for charting purposes. In this case, we're going to hit enter on June, and then at this point it just shows OPEX for June 15, 2019. Wait a little bit further and now you see you have the option to choose call or put. In this case, we're going to click call. After a slight delay, it's now going to offer you some final options. Which strike would you like to select? And obviously this isn't comprehensive, but we're going to go ahead and pick the one. It's picking the 10 that are closest to the money. In this case, we're focused on the June 67.5s. And voila, we now have a chart representation of this specific contract, okay, going back to approximately, November 2014. The other thing that's interesting here is that automatically there's a little chart along the bottom which shows the volume of those contracts and then open interest climbing along after the volume occurs on those days. Open interest may not default for you, so I'm going to just remove that for now. If you don't have that on your platform, you can simply right-click, go to Studies, Quick Study, All Studies, go down to the letter O, and then, oh, it's this one actually, and then there it is right at the bottom, open interest. And then it'll add it for you. And so you can see here on March 16th, right over here, watch over this circle over here, March 16th, over 5,600 contracts traded, and open interest was 4,600. The next day, you see how the open interest jumped by 5,000. 17th, another 5,000 plus contracts traded, and then by the following day, open interest went up to 15-some thousand, and they have remained ever since March. And the calls have declined in value, but that open interest remains. Whether they were part of a spread, whether they were bought or sold, is beyond the scope of this discussion, but this to show you how you can actually track an option and its subsequent changes in volume and open interest in graphical format. Now, we're going to add a second piece to this puzzle here and click on a tab on the right called Active Trader. And what that will allow you to do is actually place the purchasing or selling of the option directly from this screen. What these numbers here represent, so 333 is the current amount of people sitting on the bid trying to purchase this call at 460. You've got 309 people up here looking to sell it at 480, and then you've got a couple people up here. Sorry, did I say 360? I meant 460. 330 some contracts to buy at 460, 300 some to sell at 480. Obviously, if you click on, on the green column or on the red column, your order will be sent along. And particularly if you have auto send checked off up here, it will automatically send the order. But the reason I bring this window up is to show you something interesting, which is if you click on this drop down arrow here where it says single and you change that to target with bracket, what's nice here is that you now are not locked into sitting at your terminal deciding, okay, well, if the calls go up, do I sell them? If they go down, should I buy? Should I cover them? What you can do instead is, let's say, okay, if my calls go up by $1, I want to flip them. And if they go down, let's say by, 50 cents, I just want to dump them, okay? Give yourself, like, say, a 2-to-1 risk reward. So what you can see here is if I now hover over the $4.50 area, you can now see that there is an order to flip them at $5.50, which is right up there, right over here. So $5.50, and they will also be sold down at $4 if it reaches that low. And that way, when you click the button to buy, all the thinking is sort of taken out of the equation for you. The platform will take your order and sell your calls $1 higher or 50 cents lower, one or the other. If you really want to get fancy, you can then go target with 2 brackets. And what you can do here is, let's say you own 10 calls, and I want to sell the first, let's say you anticipate being right off the bat, as most of us do. You want to sell 7 of them, let's say $1 higher, and you're not really expecting to lose on them, so give that one a nice wide berth so that those calls will fill. Now, once that first bracket is filled, you're going to be left with 3 calls, and then at that point, you may decide to, alter your limit or your stop, and that way, if you get stopped out, who cares, because you've taken some profits. And if the calls continue to go further, then you can revise that as well. The platform also gives you the opportunity not only to sell it by a fixed amount higher or lower, but also by percent higher, so say 20% higher, 10% lower, etc., as well as other features there as well. So this is really just a brief overview just to show you that you can chart options of interest that you like. You can chart the volume and open interest day to day on a sub-tab down here, and you can also trade the options directly from this feature called Active Trader on the right, and using your bracketing you can control yourself getting in and out of the options, even if you are not able to trade at that moment in time. So hopefully you found this somewhat informative or educational, and if you enjoyed the video, please retweet it. Thank you. Have a good evening.